Now, many people still in Afghanistan, of course, now living in limbo, uncertain of when or even if they will make it out. But for thousands of evacuees who did make it to safety, got out of the country, the American air base in Ramstein, Germany has become a welcome refuge as they await their journey onward. Atika Schubert joins me now from Ramstein. What have you been seeing and hearing, Atika? I'm sure there's no shortage of hopeful, but at the same time, heartbreaking stories.
No, absolutely. It's a mix of emotions. But what we have been witnessing is this incredible transformation of the Ramstein Air Base. There is now a massive tent city literally on the tarmac that houses thousands of evacuees. That is their temporary home. And more are expected to come. And that's why it's so critical to get these commercial carriers flights bringing these evacuees to the United States. And we were fortunate enough to get into what they call the International Airport Terminal, which is where these evacuees finally take their flight to the United States. Take a look. Hangar 5 at Ramstein Air Base has become the gateway to a new life for thousands of Afghan evacuees. Now, this military airplane hangar has essentially become an international airport terminal, and we're standing in what would be the check-in area. And the goal is to get as many evacuees as possible onto those commercial planes to the United States. Many are happy to be leaving, but also fearful for family left behind. Ahmad Shah Shirzad checks in for his flight with his sister and father.
They are remain in there. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. I come here with my 1 sister. Yeah, it's very hard to feel this, honestly.
While the military has handled the evacuation from Kabul, it is the State Department and Homeland Security that are responsible for getting evacuees to the U.S.
The military brings them in, and they stay here for a short period of time, and then we bring them out so they can go back to the United States. It has been slow moving, but now we're getting into a process. Flights are leaving.
Ready? All right.
Volunteers pack toys, coloring books, and snacks into backpacks for the kids before the flight.
It doesn't even have to be anything fancy or that makes noise. And they'll go from wailing to content and happy and smiling the rest of the time. It's unbelievable.
On the tarmac, the flight arrives, Delta's A350 flagship plane. For the entire crew, an emotional experience.
We saw some of the evacuees standing out by the hangar, and I think that's really when it clicked, and we were all in like, okay, this is game time. These are people that we are bringing back to the United States to, escape.
Hope that the normalcy of a commercial flight might provide some measure of comfort after the hasty evacuation.
We did everything we could to make everyone comfortable and feel protected and quite frankly loved.
As the plane is ready for boarding, Ahmad Shah Shirzad and his family weigh their bags, all they were able to bring. Then they wave goodbye to board their flight to a new life in America. I just have some new numbers coming in here. More than 4,100 evacuees have departed for the United States on approximately 18 flights from Ramstein Air Base, which sounds like a lot, but keep in mind that in the next 24 hours, as the evacuation out of Kabul airport continues, they are expecting as many as 10,000 evacuees to arrive at the Ramstein Air Base. And at the moment, we're averaging about 1 plane an hour. So it really is an incredible logistical operation that's happening at the base. Michael?
Absolutely is. Atika, thanks so much. Atika Schubert there in Germany.
This week, the Pentagon activated a rarely used program to mobilize U.S. commercial airlines for the Afghanistan evacuation effort. As part of the Civil Reserve Air Fleet, airline carriers flew evacuees from temporary staging bases outside of Afghanistan to other countries for resettlement. Joining me now is Delta Airlines pilot Alexander Khan. He transported Afghan evacuees from Ramstein base in Germany to Dulles Airport outside Washington, D.C. Captain, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about that flight from Ramstein to Dulles. What was it like?
It was a fascinating opportunity to be able to do a flight like this. The crew had positioned ourselves into Germany before the night before the flight, and we got a chance to get to know each other as a crew, and I really saw how special this operation was going to be. Our flight attendants, on their own initiative, went out the night before and purchased a bunch of supplies for the children that we knew were going to be on these flights, because we knew these evacuees were coming with no opportunity to prepare and to take things that you and I would prepare for an international flight. Spending their own money, they purchased diapers and wipes and candy and balloons and other coloring books and other things that they knew the evacuees were going to need, and refused to take any reimbursement from us, from the pilots, for this.
And I know this opportunity was personally poignant for you. Why?
It was for a couple of reasons. First of all, for superficial, selfish reasons. Ramstein Air Base is where I first learned how to fly an airplane, where I first soloed and where I got my private pilot's license. So to be able to be at the peak of my career and come back and fly out of Ramstein again was quite the thrill for me. But more importantly, I'm the son of an immigrant in the United States. My father was a Holocaust survivor. He was liberated from Buchenwald concentration camp by Patton's Third Army, and came to the United States not much different than the people that are coming to the United States now. He was coming with the clothes on his back, no family, no English skills, and had to start life over again. And luckily, he was starting life over in the land of opportunity.
How did that impact you as you were sitting in the front of the plane with hundreds of refugees in the back?
So I was able to put myself in their position and realize that they're starting a new life. This is going to be a frightening experience for them, but it has the potential to be an excellent experience for them. My father made it into the United States, learned English, put himself through school, became a doctor, and years later actually was back in West Germany as a physician for the U.S. Army, where I became an Army brat at the tail end of the Cold War.
I can't imagine. Were you able to speak to any of the people, any of the refugees?
I purposely didn't, because I knew that these people deserve their dignity and they didn't need a bunch of people coming back and making a spectacle out of them. Our flight attendants, on the other hand, were incredibly professional and were able to give them exemplary service.
If you had a chance to meet someone who was on this plane 6 months, 6 years from now, what would you tell them?
I think I'd probably ask them how's their experience, have they been able to reach goals that they never dreamed possible, and to give them hope, to show them that we are a land of legal immigrants, and this is what built the United States. We're a generous country because we're a generous people, and the future is theirs.
It's obviously a very tough time for a lot of people, for Afghans, for Americans watching this. I think it's important to have these moments of hope, these moments of coming together. What do you think this represents overall? How is this representative to you of the American experience?
The American people have always come together and helped when it was time to help. And the military community overseas has always come together when it was time to help. When I broke off and went into the base exchange on Ramstein Air Base to purchase more supplies, I ran into some military family moms who asked what we were doing and asked how they could get involved. And they're looking for an opportunity. They're looking for an opportunity to donate for people that they know need their help. And this is what military families have been all about. And this is what the American people are all about.
This is what the American people are about. Captain Alexander Khan, asking not just how you can help, but how you can help more. Appreciate what you've done. Appreciate you being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.